Are you completely exhausted from walking on eggshells in your own home? Every single decision, from tech boundaries to what's for dinner, feels like a high stakes negotiation or a potential explosion. If you are constantly holding your breath, second guessing your rules just to keep the peace, you're not a bad parent. You are trapped in decision burnout.
Yeah. Welcome to the Parenting Heroes Path. I'm Amy and this is Kent. Today we're going to uncover exactly why this happens and how to shift from reactive firefighting back into the confident, loving leader your family needs.
Not long ago, Amy and I were planning our big family vacation. We were so excited, but the stakes felt huge because our 18-year-old daughter is leaving. She was about to leave for 18 months, and we felt the clock ticking. Time was running out. We wanted it to be unforgettable. So we did what a lot of well-meaning parents do. We let fear drive that decision-making process. We got caught up in trying to engineer a flawless, perfect experience, spending hours researching and overcomplicating the whole thing. And then right before pulling the trigger on a perfect location, we stopped. And we realized that in all our frantic planning, we hadn't actually stopped to ask God what He wanted for our family. We were trying to carry the whole burden on our own backs with our own steam. So we paused and took it to prayer. The prompting we got was completely contradictory, completely counterintuitive from what we were thinking. And that was simplify everything, cancel the big trip, have the kids come to us, and just stay home.
Ugh, I didn't like that answer.
Right? And honestly, the old fears crept right back in. Is a staycation special enough? Is it good enough for our daughter? She's not going to be here for a long time. Is that enough? And will the kids be disappointed because they had been with us in the planning? They were so excited about the location that we had found and what that meant. But we chose to trust God, trust each other, and trust that direction. And it turned out to be one of the most beautiful, deeply connected weeks we've ever had. We stripped away the complexity, the stress vanished, and we were fully present with each other. The connection was real. Our kids told us several times, "This has been so good. I have loved this. Thank you." We realized that peace doesn't come from trying to force a perfect blueprint. It comes from stepping off the treadmill and getting in alignment.
And if you're nodding your head because you are completely drained from trying to engineer every single outcome in your home, you are not alone. That decision fatigue is a heavy burden to carry. If you want to learn how to step off that exhausting treadmill and become the parenting hero your family needs, hit that subscribe button right now. Stick around because we're about to break down the exact shifts you need to reclaim your energy and restore your peace at home.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. So in this episode, we are diving deep into the hidden mechanics of decision burnout. This happens when your home enters a season of adolescent resistance. They're pushing back. They're declining any kind of cooperation. They are refusing to follow rules or guidelines. And as parents, you're starting to make decisions based on fear. Fear of a potential explosive backlash, fear of total disengagement, or even fear of what the neighbors might think.
Yeah, real. So to reclaim your parental influence, your ability to influence the choices that they make without burning out, you need to apply these core shifts to your daily decision making.
Okay.
So the first one is we're going to pause the fear-driven momentum. And it sounds so simple because it's a pause, and we know that we shouldn't be based in fear, and yet It is our natural reaction. I mean, just with this example, with planning the family trip, that fear just came right in. Even though this wasn't like a life-shattering, life-altering decision we were making, the fear still came in. That worry about what are they going to think? What's going to happen? How hard is it going to be? I remember thinking, I'm going to be in my own house, and then it won't feel like a vacation. I'm going to be having to do all of this and do all of that, and that fear. So we're going to work on pausing that fear. So when a family crisis hits or a boundary is pushed, our natural instinct is to react instantly to control the damage. We don't want those bad things to happen. Instead, we want to practice stepping back to cool that emotional storm. And just remembering that we never want to make any kind of important decision, no long-term family standard or important boundary, when the atmosphere is at a boiling point. When we are triggered or they are triggered, that is not the time to be making those kinds of decisions.
Got it.
And we've got to give ourselves permission to say, we're not going to decide on this right now. This isn't an emergency. I need to make sure I'm understanding everything, or I'm seeing everything clearly, understand the different options, and then we'll make that decision. Even with us and our vacation, it was like we knew we needed to make a decision at some point, but did it have to be like right then and there? Sometimes I know I get in my mind, it's like, this is an emergency, we got to decide. How many minutes can they be on their device on this day? It doesn't have to be decided right now. We can wait until we're calm. And that is the pause. That's the number one thing, is to pause on that fear that we're feeling.
So you're saying that rarely do decisions need to be made immediately.
Yeah. Only if there is actual, true danger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So number 2 then is to replace complexity with simplicity. Decision burnout thrives when we overcomplicate things. I know we never do it. Right? But if enforcing a rule requires constant tracking or arguing or negotiating, then the system is broken. So we want to look at those friction points in our home right now and choose one single foundational standard to protect this coming season, this next period, over this summer, whatever that looks like. Let go of trying to fix everything. Let go of trying to fix 27 things, right? All at once. Just focus entirely on rebuilding basic, peaceful connection.
Yeah. So good. Okay, so the number 1 is pausing that fear, pausing the fear. And the second is
replacing complexity with simplicity.
Yeah. That's one of the things that we did with the vacation, the
and
staycation.
It was so good.
Some of it was the simplicity of Costco food, so that I didn't feel like I was in the kitchen the whole time. But we think about in your lives, what can you do in your home right now that can help things to be more simple? And that is going to help with those decisions.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the third one is a shift from engineering or controlling to aligning with God and truth. And we want to stop carrying this burden of feeling like we're in charge of making sure that everything works perfectly, and that we have to carry the burden of making everything turn out flawlessly by ourselves. First of all, it's not a true thing. God never asked us to make sure that everything worked out perfectly in our family. I think as parents, we kind of naturally want everything to work out perfectly. I think we want it to work out perfectly in our own lives, but we know that's not realistic. And so really giving ourselves permission to not try to do that. And that gets a controlling aspect, and it's also kind of a scarcity thing, and our children can feel it. It doesn't feel good. You can think about if you've been in a situation with a boss or a coworker or just another relationship that you have, and someone has this where they're trying to control everything. It's not a fun place to be. Nobody wants to be in that. So anytime before you lay out a new rule or you plan exactly how a conversation is going to go or organize a family event, take that decision to God first. ask, what does my family actually need to change to help us get there? What are the most important things? And I know when we do that, when we did it in this situation, it made all the difference. Even though initially it was hard. I didn't want to hear that answer. I really didn't, because I was so excited and a little bit set on that other more complicated vacation.
Just as you're saying that, I feel lighter already. Just being able to let go of that burden and that weight and give that to God, it's kind of like God's stronger than me.
Yeah, of course he is. And we take this on ourselves, but he is there. He's there and he wants to help us all the time. And I think that he's gonna tell us when it's like, okay, you decide this thing. You decide that. But we go to him first and we ask. Yeah. So when we seek that divine alignment, that priority, we shift from the frantic to the calm. And that, like you just said, like it's peaceful. And we are not the frantic manager trying to force a prescribed outcome. And now we are this steady, calm guide. We're receiving inspired direction, and we can have peace knowing that this is what God wants for our family. And even if some part of it doesn't work out like we thought it would, it's okay, because we're being guided by him.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, bonus number 4. We want to establish a solid front between us.
Yep.
So adolescents, teenagers are typically in a cycle of resistance, and when they're in that place, they can instinctively exploit gaps between mom and dad. I don't know how they do it, but they can sense that, they feel that, and when they're exploiting that gap, it just makes everything heavier, harder, that weight's bigger, and then that weighs on us, on our mental load. So what we want to do is sit down together and
As
husband and wife, mom and dad,
wife,
as
yeah.
spouses, partners, right? And we're not with the kids. And we're going to agree on a handful of non-negotiable family rhythms, routines that we are going to stop deciding the same rules 50 times a week. We're not going to try and reinvent it every time. And so we set those up in advance. And when a child pushes back on those standards that we've set, we know the standards are already set. We stand together. And if you don't have a spouse who's ready to do this, or don't have a spouse, just be solid and confident with your own self.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes a little bit of fake it till you make it. Like you're still kind of waffling between two decisions. Choose one.
Yeah.
Choose one and stand by it. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't have a family council and decide something else.
We can change it later.
Yeah. Or if a child is like, but you said blah, 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 blah. Yes, I know I said that. This is what we're going with for now. We can talk about it in a couple days. If it's something that is still concerning you, we always want to leave it open, that we are open to listening, but we have this solid stance. I think about our vacation and how we were together. Once we finally decided, then we were together. And
that's how it was.
We presented it to the family, and they were like, oh, okay, cool. And like moved on. And I think about if we had, like, let's say you had presented, we're going to do staycation, and I had been stuck on that other location and been like, well, we're not really sure about the staycation. We're still thinking like, actually, I really, really want to do that other house that we were going to rent. I really just like, if we had presented that in that way, they first of all would have felt like, well, which one is it? What are we actually doing? And then there's, it's different if we were coming to the family and saying, we want input, we want you to help us. And that's what we had done earlier in saying what kind of dates are going to work for you, what kind of a vacation do we want. So we already had those things nailed down, and we had their input on that. So then it was just deciding. Yeah. And if we had presented it as, I want this thing and he wants this thing completely different, that
it would have changed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been different.
Yeah, it would have. So ultimately, overcoming decision burnout requires a shift in our identity. We are not the firefighters destined to spend the next several years just trying to keep the house from burning down. You are a parenting hero. A hero doesn't win by outshouting the storm. A hero wins by anchoring themselves to a true compass, simplifying those things you're facing, and choosing authentic connection.
When you change the way you show up and make decisions, the entire trajectory of your family culture begins to heal. If you're in the middle of a family storm right now, you don't have to walk this path alone. Join our free Parenting Heroes community at the link below to get support from other parents on this path. Let's move your home from a state of crisis back to a place of lasting calm together. So click on the link in the description to claim your free spot inside the group today.